I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I think I could have run behind you. Martin, I can remember.
Your intro's going off. Ready in just a second.
And I run that coach didn't take biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
3, 2, 1.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial, the Martin Houston Show fan page on Facebook, at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter. It is a beautiful Thursday morning, and I'm so glad to be with you and glad to be bringing you up-to-date coverage on all the things that's pertinent to you and your sports world. Of course, things driving the conversation today is name, image, and likeness conversation throughout the college sports world. It's a new day. Are we witnessing the beginning of wealth redistribution at the college level? And will some people have to get used to it? For those of you who have a problem with it, why is it so hard for you to understand that this is not going away, but it's also not going to ruin college football? This is not first time something like this has happened. It's just on the biggest scale. And why can't you see that it could be good? So, hey, what's the pros? What's the cons? Give us a call. Let's talk about it. Continue to talk about it. We started some conversation yesterday with Daniel Moore, one of our other Martin Houston Show family members, brought up a great point about a Daniel Moore print. I thought, and I'll bring that point out here in just a moment. And I'm not sure how that will be handled. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, you're going to have to stay tuned for later on in the program. We got a lot of other topics. Of course, we're going to be catching up with Hank South 247 Sports Bama Online Recruiting, be joining us to kick off the second half. So that's the playbook for now. May call a couple audibles as we go throughout the show, but we're live and local, and I want to remind you that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Shout out to Devontae Smith for yet another trophy added to his trophy case as the Roy Kramer Male Athlete of the Year. Young man has really racked it up, and wishing him nothing but the best as he prepares to start his NFL career with the Philadelphia Eagles. Name, image, and likeness is taking over the world. So let's see. Let me see if this works this morning.
Hey y'all, it's Montana Fouts. I'm super excited to be a part of Cameo and to get to know y'all's lives a little bit better. I'm super excited to record videos about birthday shout-outs, good luck videos, really anything that y'all have in mind. So just hit me up in the request, and I'm just super excited to get to know y'all. So thank you, and bye.
Joe, did you hear that?
Yeah, that came through pretty clearly on our side as well. Montana Fouts is about to make a lot of money on some Cameo. I was talking to my parents last night, and who would buy those videos? I said, she is going to be knee deep in requests from parents of 8-year-old young ladies, 9-year-old young ladies, ladies who have just started to play softball.
Yes.
I think she's knee deep in encouragement videos and make plenty of money. Have you seen what she's charging?
Yeah, have you? That's yeah. What are you showing?
I'm seeing. Well, last night, as of last night, I saw it was $29 to contract a Montana Falcon video.
Okay.
I'm going to assume the price is going to rise as her market value settles.
Jacob posted an article on Tide 109 that I clicked on this morning. It's $39. He put the link in, so I clicked the link, and when I go to the link, guess how much it's up to already?
Is she up to 49?
45.
She's keeping up, trying to discover what her market value is, and I think that's great.
so since the first time you saw it, it's already gone up $16. So I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen with with the name, image, and likeness. People have been asking about how do you determine market value? What's market value? They can't just pay these athletes $5,000 for a commercial. They're not going to do that. But the market value will determine itself. I'm sure in the early goings, there will be athletes that do things for less than market value, and there will be companies that pay more than market value. We're only 8 days into this, and the market will settle itself. We're seeing that with Montana at the moment as she's trying to determine what the optimal price to charge for her cameo is.
Yeah, and people, I mean, like I said, some of us old folk don't understand this new world that we live in. But when I was growing up, Joe, and when I was playing, I used to get requests to go visit in the hospital. One of the most life-changing experiences I've ever had. And this is what happens most of the time when you go on these types of visits. You get more than the kids. But there was a young lady named Becca Hart from Tuscaloosa, and we were playing in Memphis, Joe. And of course, they have the Children's Hospital up in Memphis. And she had cancer, and I'm still friends with her parents to this day. Like really good friends. I mean, not really good, but if we see each other, we're very, very feel very connected because of this one thing. We went up there. She had cancer. Me, Jay Barker, Coach Stallings, and went in to see her. And I was terrified, Joe, of going in to see this young lady because I'm like, how do I say something to her? Here I am, the picture of health, right? Top of my game, everything. And here's this 13-year-old that's dying of cancer. And we walk into that room, and Joe, I don't know if I got to say anything. She was so full of life, so excited, just took over the room, commanded the room. And the next day we're playing, and I hyperextend my knee, Joe. And the first thing I thought about when I was laying on the field was that little girl. And my instinct response was, thank you, God, that I had an opportunity to be injured playing football for the University of Alabama. That was my first thought, because I went back to her and thought, how can I be upset that I'm hurt? And needless to say, it was sort of like the Giannis thing, and not to make that type of comparison, but I thought I was going to be out for several weeks. And I actually practiced that Monday. But to this day, I still think about that moment. And I look at this where there were so many kids that I would have loved to have encouraged and said stuff to, Joe, when I was asking. I just couldn't. I mean, I couldn't get there, right? Now, these kids, they can connect over video as well as we did in person, right? So she's going to get, remember my supply and demand conversation? There's so many football players that people will try to go after. How many Montana Falcons exist at the University of Alabama? So she is going to have a huge demand, as you said, for the birthdays and for the get well wishes and for those special occasions and all of that. It's going to be pretty crazy. But let me tell you how it works, Joe. I spoke to a business owner yesterday, and he didn't fully grasp and understand. And I'm not going to give his name or anything like that today, but we may talk about the story in the future. And I just talked to him a little bit about name, image, and likeness. Gave him some pointers. He sends me a text back, Joe, based off of those pointers, and he is signing one. He's gonna end up. He has a meeting with one of the hottest players, I think, out there, just because he reached out and made an offer. So it is going to be absolutely crazy. So the cameos of the world. Let me see if her stock has gone up since we've been on here. No, she already has a 105 fan club hearts. So we'll follow that. Cameo appearance by Montana Fouts. You got anything else you want to add to that, Joe?
Oh, you nailed it. I think it's a great for Montana Fouts and everybody who's looking to get an encouragement video or get their daughter something special for her birthday. I think that's a great place to go to.
And what about the how-tos, Joe? I mean, personalized how-to. Montana, what do you do in this situation? I'm telling you, it's going to be crazy to watch. And her numbers have already started going up on Twitter. She's now moved from 112 to 113, so she's added 1,000 followers, and now she's over almost at 1 on TikTok, 26.5 on Twitter. I mean, on Twitter, and it's up to 113. So she's already starting to fill that out. We'll keep our eyes on all of that. I still think that the team endorsements are going to be a big item. I think Dan Lambert got hold to something. And I went back, Joe, and figured up, I don't know what his company's worth, but say $100 million company out there is willing to give these players $500 a piece. That's 0.0054% of their revenue stream. Do you realize how, with that announcement, how much free advertising has Dan Lambert got? With that,
he's paying these Miami athletes, but everybody around the country is talking about American Top Team and talking about his gym.
Yeah, so right now he's probably already got more than $500,000. When you look nationwide at every radio station, most people didn't even know who Dan Lambert was. So he's already managed to get a lot of that back. So we'll talk about that, and I'm going to give you a number on the other side that shows you just how crazy the lopsidedness and why I say there's going to be a redistribution of wealth at the college level. We'll talk about that. We can talk about other topics. If you have something you want to bring to the conversation, 205-342-9904. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business. Taco Casa, quality, taste, value under the biggest cactus in town. Go check them out for lunch and or dinner. That's Taco Casa, tacocasa.com.
$88.86. Townsend Nissan has an awesome selection of brand new cars, trucks, SUVs, and they really need your trade. Go see them. I'm Captain Ray.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
The perfect place to make your escape. Golden Moon offers 600 finely appointed rooms with incredible views. Take a dip in our Vegas-style infinity pool, complete with a full-service bar and cabanas. Experience the South's premier golf destination at Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, or catch the biggest sporting events at Time Out Lounge. So what are you waiting for? Come see us in Choctaw, Mississippi. Golden Moon Hotel and Casino, a Pearl River Resort property.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
I love my Charmin Super Mega Golden Goals last long. It's DP Goals, yeah. Charmin's got 6 rows in one. Lasts forever on my buns. Only Super Mega when I'm cleaning. Charmin's got my booty believing.
Charmin Super Mega Roll is 6 regular rolls in one. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Do you remember a time that you would go to the drive-in movie theater and have a blast as a kid? You can pass on the experience to a new generation every Saturday at dusk at Government Plaza. We are showing a movie in the park on a 30-plus foot screen. Our next movie is Back to the Future. We have food vendors on site. This is your chance to bring out the kids and enjoy a family-friendly event, and it's free thanks to our sponsors: Pepsi, Bryant Bank, Tuscaloosa Tourism and Sports, Burnham Pond Exterminators, the City of Tuscaloosa, and Town Square Media. Join us Saturday, July 10th at Government Plaza.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky will stay mostly cloudy today and tonight. Periods of rain likely, maybe a thunderstorm in spots. The high today 85, tonight's low 71. For tomorrow, occasionally cloudy with scattered to numerous showers and thunderstorms during the day. The high 85. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 72 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith at Sophomart Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at sophmartdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. CJ Watson saying those types of videos have been super popular. Imagine the number of Bama fans that would want Montana to send a personalized happy birthday video message to a loved one, friend, or themselves. She'll be in high demand. And the key word there is demand. And that number will continue to rise because it's about supply and demand. If you're going to look for a football player, there's a bunch of different, and that doesn't mean that there's not people don't have favorite players on their on softball teams and things like that. But there's just a much higher demand. Much higher supply of top name recognized players on the football team or on the basketball team than there is per se on the softball team. But softball to me is more of a grassroots. Softball fans are softball fans. And Joe, we hadn't even talked about Montana Fouts' market back in Kentucky. You know, she's a hometown hero back from where she's from. So that's another market. She's playing on the softball circuit right now. So she is going to she's going to be paid. So, all right, Joe, remember we were going to break and I told you if what's his name took the Miami team, right? And paid all of the players, 90 players, be $500,000, right? And that's 0.005 of $100 million company. So I took the numbers, Joe, and said if you took $1,000, paid 85 players on 132 schools on all 132 schools, you know how much that would be?
No, I don't have my math in front of me, my calculator.
Yeah, it'd be $11,220,000. Okay. If you took that in the NCAA, instead of fighting this, Joe, if they had just came out with that amount, that would be 0.01122% of $1 billion industry. Okay, just over 1%. If you paid every player, and the reason I took 132 because the Division I tends to go up and down from 130 to 132. I'm not exactly sure what the number is this year, but if you took 132 teams, 85 players on all of those teams, and paid them $5,000, a year, that's above, and that's would be just an increase of 5% out of $1 billion industry. $56 million out of $1 billion industry. And we're talking about they're going to add a few more games with the 12-game extension, and it's going to go from just under a $500 million industry to probably over $1 billion just for college football playoff. So the college football playoffs in and of itself, expanding to 12 games, not counting the NCAA, is going to become a $1 billion industry based on the numbers and expectations of what you've seen in the way the college football play. Man, you should have paid up and you probably had a lot more control. You probably shouldn't have fought this thing and you'd have a lot more control. But yet, NCAA didn't, and now it's the Wild Wild West, and it's gonna be some pros and cons to this. But Joe, I have one question, and those of you who listen to this radio station, talks to and listens to Ron Fowler, who ends every day, and he and I do the show together on Tuesday night called Alabama Tradition. Joe, we were talking, and Ryan was just, oh my God, I don't know how it's gonna be, and about this player, and I'm like, why are we so worried, Joe? Isn't this what happens in every other industry that exists? Why do you think people think that allowing players to do this is going to ruin college football? The people who are on that side, why do you think that?
It's because the fear of the unknown is and from the Alabama fan perspective, it's going to give other teams a fighting chance in recruiting, and it's because people think that the college football has been a pure, clean, wholesome sport. Maybe you hear people all the time that's talking about, oh, I like college more than pro because the college guys love the game more. The college guys are playing, for the team more. But that's not the case.
I was going to say, hold it right there, Joe. That may used to be the case, but when did coaches? When did it? When I was being recruited, you know what I was recruited to do, Joe? I was recruited to play for the University of Alabama. The big boys right now, that part of their sales pitch is what? To the big time. Yes. So you're already saying, hey, if you come here, I'll help you in 3 to 4 years be able to make money off of your name, image, and likeness. Right? Is that not the same? Is that not what they've been telling them?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. If you come in and build your brand through the way you play on this football field in 4 years, hey, you'll be able to potentially make some money off of it. Now what's happening is, hey, if you build your brand in high school, you work hard in high school, you now have a chance to make money in college. Just like another kid who may be really gifted in music or really gifted in tech or really gifted in auto mechanic, whatever they're gifted in, they can begin to immediately make money. but you said something, Joe, that they say is pure. Well, who was it pure for? For us as fans, selfishly? What are we afraid of? When you say they're afraid of, that tells you how controlled. And I hear a lot of fans make fun of the NCAA, right? And I got onto Ryan, because Ryan has dogged the NCAA. But what's the difference in what Ryan is, how he's feeling right now, or others, than the way the NCAA has acted? Some of these same people that have dogged the NCAA would be making the same judgments based on the way they're reacting to name, image, and likeness. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, because if you have a problem with name, image, and likeness, because you're not asking the University of Alabama to pay a dime. So your college is not going to pay anything. But for the first time, all of those involved can benefit from the hard work that happens. Here's a quick sidebar, Joe, that I don't know if anybody, I was talking to someone and CJ Watson, one of our listeners that views us on Facebook, he said, I brought up the Daniel Moore Prince and how if there's a 2nd and 26, will the players now start authorizing that image? And if you are a player, if you're Daniel Moore, you better be working out relationships with these players early, because now you can, these images can be made, while they're in college, and they can start commissioning people in college, not just when they're seniors. So with that said, CJ Watson asked a great question. Will Lamar Thomas, for those of you who know the Daniel Moore print from the 92 team, will Lamar Thomas with the towel over his head, does Daniel Moore now have to pay him as well? You see what I'm saying? Like, now.
Daniel Moore's going to be going. Everybody that you paint is using their name, image, and likeness, even though it's your skill of painting. So that's going to be something that he and his company are going to have to mitigate.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Would he have to pay him? I don't know. I know he would be running a risk if he don't pay, because he won before that he was painting a public event. That's how he won it, and kudos to him. And so he had won a case, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I'm not misspeaking, but because it was painting something that was public. Well, before this name, image, and likeness thing, he was the one that was gonna paint it, and the players didn't really have an alternative. They didn't have somewhere else to go per se. But now they can go back, like Jay Barker could have gone to the University of Alabama, and that passed from him to Sherman Williams. He could have gone to the university and worked out a deal with the university, and then commissioned his own artist for whatever play he wanted, whether that play or another play. And then he drives the demand based on, these are the official ones that I'm going to sign. Like you said, the goal line stand against Penn State. If those players say this is the one we're going to sign, then it devalues the other artist rendering. So that's going to be interesting to watch how that all plays out. And then there's just a sidebar. We're going to get to recruiting here next, but just a sidebar. I was talking to a business owner in the apparel game, and he said, Martin, we've always had an issue with people knocking off and faking and counterfeiting licensed material by the university with that script A. He said, and attorneys police it and the university polices it. Who's going to police knockoff player name, image, and likeness gear? I said, that's probably a business and an avenue waiting for somebody that's willing to do what Bill Battle did many, many years ago to help police that. or they better hope they get a really good agency to help them, because it's coming. That's one of the cons to the change. Coming up on the other side, we'll get with Hank South 247 Sports to figure out if he's heard any more news about this name, image, and likeness, and maybe he can tell us whether or not some of these high school guys have figured out how to get in on the game or not. Also, we had a big commitment since the last time we spoke. We'll break that all down on the other side with Hank South 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. We have had some rain overnight, so watch out for wet spots in the roadways. And if you do see conditions throughout the morning that folks need to hear about, just give us a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan has an awesome selection of brand new cars, trucks, SUVs, and they really need your trade. Go see them. I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard, right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
The perfect place to make your escape. Golden Moon offers 600 finely appointed rooms with incredible views. Take a dip in our Vegas-style infinity pool, complete with a full-service bar and cabanas. Experience the South's premier golf destination at Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, or catch the biggest sporting events at Time Out Lounge. So what are you waiting for? Come see us in Choctaw, Mississippi. Golden Moon Hotel and Casino, a Pearl River Resort property.
This is a big deal. Now at healthcare.gov, millions more people can get affordable health coverage. Due to the COVID relief law, 4 out of 5 customers can get a plan for under $10 a month with financial help. From doctor visits to preventive services to prescription drugs, these are quality plans. You can do this. You can have coverage as soon as August 1st if you sign up now at healthcare.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our Pep Talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
So good. Is it because we use the smartest design and best materials to make them the most comfortable socks?
Martin, you ready? I'm hot. You're hot in 3, 2, 1.
All right. Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. It's now time for us to catch up with Hank South, 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting. Good morning, Hank. How you doing, sir?
Hey, what's going on, man? I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Well, big news for Alabama. Of course, the team across the stage making a little noise, but we are not going to talk about them too much today. But Alabama getting a big commitment from Antonio Kite. what is the Crimson Tide getting from, not from, but in dual sport athlete Antonio Kite from Anniston High School?
Just a really all-around sound player. A kid that's pretty new to football. He was a basketball prospect originally. Had a lot of Division I interest, including from Alabama in basketball. But then, had a really strong junior season. He picked up an offer back in November from Nick Saban himself. He's just been a big target ever since. He visited last month, spoke with Nick Saban, spoke with the staff, has gotten really to know Charles Kelly and the rest of the coaches, and grew up a Bama fan. So pretty much was a no-brainer, once Bama offered him and really started pushing for him. But, 6'1", 185, rated as an athlete. He projects as a defensive back, probably will play safety in Alabama's defense, but just a really physical football player, has good ball skills, and like I said, as he's still learning the position, he's just going to get better and better. So I think Bama fans should be really, really excited about him. Really athletic kid. I think has a really, really high ceiling too. Considering the newness to the game. So big time pickup from Antonio Kite. I think we'll see him have another strong season in 2021, and I think he's going to be a guy that gets a bump in the rankings when it's all said and done as well.
So when you look at this kid, talking about Antonio Kite, you're saying that he was on the radar before as a basketball player and just really had a great season. So with that said, was this a potential dual kind of commitment? Will we see him potentially, occasionally on the court on the other side, or is it just a solid just football commitment from a kid that had basketball interests?
Yeah, he's going to stick with football. He, like I said, he was recruited by Alabama in basketball, and there were, when he came for his visit, I think he spent some time with the staff too. But he's going to focus just on football. If anything changes, maybe down the line he looks into it, but it's not going to be the type of situation Quincy McKinstry or Terrion Arnold were in, where they were absolutely going to play basketball as well. He's gonna focus on football.
So with that said, have those guys done any work? Have you talked with them any? Have they done any work, Arnold and McKinstry, with the basketball program?
Yeah, as far as Arnold, he got in this summer, so I'm not sure what his workout schedule is. I'm sure he's probably doing something with it, but Quincy McKinstry actually steered up with the basketball team, was doing the practices as an early enrollee back earlier in the year when the season was still going on. But as far as summer goes, I'm not really sure how that goes with their workout schedule, but they're still both set to contribute with basketball as well.
Wow, that means even more money potentially for name, image, and likeness. Go figure. Everything changes around name, image, and likeness. And speaking of that, CJ Watson had a question. Hank, have you heard of this name, image, and likeness having any impact or influence on recruits that you've had contact with? Is this playing a role early in how these kids are deciding where to go, or making their top list?
It hasn't been talked about too much. It's certainly something recruits talking about. We were even, back during interviews, we were just talking about Terrion Arnold, but, one of the big things he was saying when he was recruited was, how Bama was going to, walk them through the NIL process, how they were going to help the student athletes market themselves and, build their brands. He said he really liked what Alabama was saying about it. Obviously, the schools can't pay the kids to come there, but they obviously with this NIL, the new NIL situation, that the recruits or the student athletes have to register through a system with the university to it goes to the school, and so everyone's on the same page with what kind of deals these guys are signing. Terrion Arnold just sticks out because he brought it up a few times, talking about how Bama was going to help their guys, go through that process and really build their brand.
So Nick Saban, Terrion Arnold committed back in February, right? Yeah. So Nick Saban was already using it as a recruiting tool before it even passed. Hey, listen, the name is perfect. I've told Ryan, I've said on the air numerous times, The Advantage is the name of their program that oversees the name, image, and likeness process at the University of Alabama. And once again, if kids were already using that back then, you know that it's big time in play now. So, wow. All right, let's go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's get to
Pat.
Pat.
That was good.
Let's get to Pat. Pat, you're in with Hank South 247 Sports. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning. Good morning, Hank. Do you have any idea when the young man from Montgomery is going to announce? We're talking about Perry, the defensive lineman.
I don't think he's going to announce for a while. I think he really, he didn't take any, or at least he didn't take most of his official visits. I think, let's see, I'm looking at his profile. I think he's saving his official visits for the season. He was in Tuscaloosa in June, but he's always kind of just talked about wanting to wait and take it as long as he can. So I don't have any set date. Maybe he changes his mind, but I would expect a little bit, at least into the fall before he starts to look at making a decision.
Well, is he projected as an early enrollee?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, all right. So it could be February before we know anything for sure.
Yeah, potentially.
Gotcha. All right. That was one thing I just because I really think he's a big piece as far, even though he's not 6'5", and but as a defensive lineman, I mean, it's just absolutely video numbers. And is the competition over there that much weaker than the rest of the country, or is he potentially that good? What do you think?
I think he's that good. He's just a really sound player, and he's a really competitive kid. I think we've talked about this before on air. He went and did the national combine going into his freshman season when all the kids there were juniors and seniors going into their senior year, older and a step above him in competition. Each wanted to see where he's stacked up. So he's very drawn to competition. So I think he's whoever gets him is going to get a really solid football player.
Gotcha. All right. Hey, y'all have a blessed day. Thank you, Mr. Houston.
Thanks, Pat. All right, appreciate it. All right, speaking of Hank South 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting. Hank, just a couple rundown questions. Fitzgerald West announces he's going to be making a decision this Saturday. Has LSU, Alabama, SMU, and Tulane. Kind of an interesting composite of 4 teams there. Where is he leaning? Is Alabama in the hunt, or is it just like everybody does, putting Alabama in the top 3?
Yeah, Bama likes him. He worked out last month and got an offer, but it was contingent on more. Nick Saban told him he wanted to see him more this fall before he could commit.
Okay.
So it's not a committable offer unless something changed in the last 2 weeks. But I don't think something did. I think he's going to end up at LSU. He's rated as a defensive lineman. He's actually recruited as an offensive lineman by Alabama.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that they're looking at him. And so, maybe this is a guy Bama pushes forward down the line, but I think he's going to go to LSU.
Yeah,
not Alabama.
That's interesting. He didn't have a committable offer, but he put him in his top 4. And I see that quite often. It's like everybody that commits chose their school over Alabama. I think that's part of the coach's ploy in the way they do things. Have any of the kids ever told you that they know where they're going, but their coaches have told them to list out their top 5?
I haven't really heard that too much. I've heard kids that they're encouraged to use Alabama, throughout the years. Just if you're going to talk to Bama, put them on there. So there was that really famous one. It wasn't that famous, but it was the Army Bowl like 3 or 4 years ago, and a kid committed to Washington State, and he had a Bama hat. Like literally, we had never said his name ever, but he had a Bama hat on the table.
Yeah,
he was an Army All-American. He was a good player, but he committed to Washington State. Bama wasn't even in the mix for him. I think his name was something Calvin, Amir Calvin or something.
Yeah, and that's.
But I think he ended up being really good at Washington State. But still, I mean, at the time.
Yeah, and I really, because it looks good if Oregon has 3 players that choose them over Alabama. It gives a different persona, and I know that coaches do that, some of that stuff. I just wonder if any recruits had ever told you that. So, regarding a couple guys that's making some short lists, Greg Biggins, you retweeted about him knocking out his top 5. San Antonio, Mater Dei wide receiver C.J. Williams. Is he a legit possibility to come?
I think so. I haven't heard too much about him. I'm not sure he visited in June, but he's a really interesting kid because his dad, he's from Mater Dei High School. He was born in Tuscaloosa, but he's never actually been to Alabama for a visit. So that's kind of interesting. His dad played basketball at Alabama, so he's got ties to the university and the city. So obviously, pretty big ties. So we'll see. I'm not sure Bama has really pushed for him yet at this point. I could be wrong, but I haven't really heard his name too much. But he's definitely someone we're keeping an eye on, especially now with Bama in his top 5.
All right. Well, of course, big news. Joe, you had a question for Hank regarding a pretty big name in Alabama.
Yeah, Hank, Jeremiah Alexander, big-time player out of Thompson, is supposed to be committing today. We remember he was committed to Alabama, but decommitted prior to the state playoffs last year. Where does he stand? What time is he committing today, and how do you feel about where he's going to end up?
Yeah, huge news today. Jeremiah Alexander, he's set to announce at 4:30 p.m. Central Time, so we're a ways away, but that's when he's told us that he's going to announce. I believe he's just doing it on social media with his Twitter and Instagram. So keep an eye out then. He was the first commitment in Alabama's 2022 class back in March of 2020. Obviously, like you said, just backed off his pledge last fall, but always, still considered Alabama, put him in the top 6 at the beginning of the year. And, everyone thought, Georgia or then Clemson, and he's going to decide between Alabama and Clemson today. And I never moved my pick off Alabama. I always thought that he would probably, there's a good chance he'd probably end up back in the class. Didn't always have the highest confidence on it, but always felt pretty good about it. And I still feel pretty good about Bama's chances today. So I think Bama can get big news. That's my prediction, is Alabama today at 4:30 p.m.
Wow, that would be a huge get for the Alabama Crimson Tide if they were able to get him, special player, top-ranked player in the state of Alabama. Another top-ranked kid, Justice Finkley, put Alabama in his top 3. Exactly where does this young man fit? He's a defensive lineman, but he's not real big, kind of 6'2"-ish, 255 pounds. Really athletic-looking defensive lineman. Where does he project at the college rank?
Yeah, he wants to. I think he's more of a kind of an edge guy. I think obviously he could continue to grow and maybe be an interior guy, but I think that he projects more on the edge. But yeah, that top 3, it caused a Michigan meltdown on July 4th. There was a lot of people that were projecting him to Michigan after his official visit, and then he dropped Michigan and just considered Alabama, Texas, and Colorado. So there was like a 12-page meltdown thread on our Michigan board on Sunday, and not including the Wolverines. But big time player. There's been this thought that he's not a guy that Bama likes. I don't know where it started, but Bama absolutely likes him, and he has a committable offer. And has been recruited really hard. He'll take an official visit to Bama in the fall. He was on campus early June before his set of official visits, but we'll keep an eye on Colorado and Texas. But I think another guy Bama has a pretty good chance with.
Yeah, man, it's so much to get to. I got a couple more quick questions for you. One is, how did Ty Simpson do at the Elite 11?
He did pretty good. He wasn't the number one guy, or he didn't finish the number one guy, but he kind of finished in that middle of the pack, Elite 11. I think he was 5 or 6. People have their different rankings, but I think per the Elite 11, I think he finished 6. That might be wrong. We need to double check. But overall, solid week. They're talking about consistency, obviously arm strength. What he can do kind of outside the pocket. So he had a strong week. He didn't hurt himself at all. He didn't blow everyone away, but he also I think he withstood kind of where he stands in the rankings as a composite 5-star.
I thought it was interesting that he compared himself. He said he's a composite of Tua and Mac Jones. So there you go. Yeah. So that's pretty high praise for yourself. Another edge rusher, nation's number 1 edge rusher, according to 247 Sports, nearing a decision. Anaya White, where is he at, and is Bama in consideration, and when do you think he's going to be making that decision?
Yeah, Bama is. They're in the top 4. There's been thoughts that it's a Georgia-Ohio State race. There's thoughts that it's Bama-Georgia. I like Bama's chances coming out of his official visit last month. I think they really blew him away with their presentation and everything for his first time down at Tuscaloosa. So, I haven't put in a crystal ball pick yet, but I think Bama's in a good spot here. We'll see. He hasn't set an official date as far as when he's going to announce. But he did tweet soon or whatever. So I would imagine this summer before the start of the season, we'll keep an eye on that. But Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, those are the 3 schools to watch. And I personally think Bama, is really kind of is trending up, I guess. But we'll see in the coming weeks.
All right. Hanks out 247 Sports, even giving a shout out to Raleigh Quick. I'm assuming the younger brother of Pierce Quick, committing. You don't cover much baseball, but what is Bama getting in this young man?
Yeah, he was the exception. He's a guy that was a top football recruit. He decided to stick with baseball. Top football and baseball recruit. He was getting offers from schools in both sports. Opportunities to play both sports from a lot of schools. Bama hadn't offered him football yet, but baseball was recruiting him really hard. He really connected with Brad Bohannon and their staff. But he's a top level pitcher. I'm not by any means a baseball scout or someone that can tell you much about what the kid brings to the field of baseball. But I know he's a very high level kid. Throws a really good fastball, from what I'm told. So big time baseball player. Committed to Bama baseball. He's going to step away from football after his senior year at Hewitt Trustful and just focus on baseball. And I think he's got a really bright future in the sport.
What position did he play in football?
He's a defensive lineman and offensive lineman.
Okay, all right.
Mainly offensive lineman, but he's a guy. He's been really dominant at defensive line too.
Yeah, and Joe just told me he has a 95-mile-per-hour fastball. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Good choice, kid. Good choice, kid. But anyway, thanks, Hank. Tell our listeners where they can find you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. BamaOnline.com. I tweet all my stuff out at HankSouth247 as well.
All right. Thanks, Hank. We appreciate you. We'll catch up with you next week. And maybe we'll have big news coming. Maybe we'll have big news coming with Alexander committing today. All right. Thank you. We'll catch up with you next week.
Sounds good.
All right. Went a little long in that segment, but what we're going to do here is let's just go ahead, Joe, and run through the end and then just take a longer break at the end in terms of the Tide. Oh, man. Virgil Williams saying Saban has used creating a personal brand while here at Bama way before name, image, and likeness was even thought of, and that is so true. For years, Saban has been making that statement. Well, there's a lot happening. Alabama softball picking up a big get in a catcher. They picked up a catcher from Tennessee as Allie Shipman has decided to spend her last 2 years at the Capstone. Third best hitter on the Tennessee team, started all of their games last year. So big pickup. And the Gonzaga game is in the books and finalized. And Alabama will be making some news, and we'll talk to you more about that on tomorrow. So you make sure you come back to the Tide 109 app or Tide109.com page, or tune in on the radio dial at 100.9. And then, of course, I simulcast on all of my social media outlet pages at Martin Houston 35, Martin Houston Live on Facebook. You can find us there. Follow at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter. Give us a like, give us a share. Remember this: trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. Always acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. Roll Tide.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Tide 100.9 traffic.